Hi, welcome back to FutureFast. And once again, we have Pathikrit with us. And before we jump into the conversation, for those of you who are here for the first time, I urge you to look up the first part of the conversation with Pathikrit Dasgupta, wherein he shares his journey. It's very interesting, and I'm sure most of you will appreciate it. And for those of you who already heard that part of the conversation, welcome back. And I hope you're subscribed to FutureFast. And if you have not yet done that, do it right now. And with that, Pathikrit, once again, thank you so much for being here with us on FutureFast. And let's and appreciate you making time to be here with us as well.
Yeah, thank you, Nanjunda.
So, Pathikrit, let's talk about SabPaisa. You did mention how you got started with that, but uh, where is SabPaisa today? We got the journey of it, but where are you headed from here to going forward?
Right. So we launched this product in 2016. So the company name is actually SRS Life Technologies Private Limited. But we prefer to call ourselves as SabPaisa. That is our product name. That is the product suite name, which can be easily identified that, okay, we are from SabPaisa. So we started as a fintech company in 2016. Then there was no regulations that you need to obtain a license if you want to do a business. It was not a regulated segment. The regulation came just 1 or 2 years back. We just have to comply with the requirements of Payment and Settlement Act 2007. So that is how we did our business. And SabPaisa, you can say it provides a payment system which will facilitate digital transaction as well as offline transactions from the same checkout page, which is quite unique in the industry. When you look at different payment options, you will see payment options like cards, net banking, UPI, QR, pay later options. All these are digital options. But what about the cash option? Can it be done digitally? What about NEFT RTGS option, which is for large ticket size? It is the most suitable way of transacting. Can it be done from the checkout page? So we solved that uh, part, and we definitely found a use case, several use case for doing that. So in a nutshell, SabPaisa is a payment provider which uniquely provides both the digital channels and offline channels from the single checkout page. And in layman language, that is the best possible description I can
Can
give.
can you can you give that in an through an application where
Yeah,
so that makes it easy for listeners to understand as well.
right. So when we started our business, we started with a government PSU bank. We started with segments like education and government segment. So there the mantra was inclusivity. Like whenever you are trying to collect payments, every strata of the society should be able to make the payment. So I will give you an example. Say Delhi Jal Board is having around 108 divisions. And what they do is they do several civil work, pipeline work to supply water to residential and commercial areas in Delhi. So they have huge number of tenders which comes up in a month. So the problem was that, okay, like collecting the tender fee, collecting the EMD, and as soon as that tender is closed, the EMD of the qualified uh, vendor should go
Vendor.
to the gel board, and the rest should be automatically refunded back. And so we gave a payment option wherein they can pay through cards if they want to avail the facility of credit card getting a 45 days credit period, or they want to pay through even cash or NEFT RTGS. They want to do a transaction through a virtual account number. Say the amount of EMD is around, say, 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs. So they don't have that, you can say their card doesn't support that balance, that kind of transaction, or the net banking is not having that limit. They can generate a virtual account number from the checkout page and make a payment through that. Okay. Or if they have that limit, they can make a payment through credit card.
But how
So,
does the cash transaction, how do you
yeah.
facilitate it?
So in case of cash transaction, currently we have integrated more than 1 million counters across India for cash collection through a challan. Okay, so before going there to drop your cash, you need to generate a challan from SabPaisa checkout page. So that challan number is unique. And then you walk into these counters. It can be a bank counter. We have integrated with multiple such banks like Indian Bank, ICICI Bank, Bank of India, and other banks. And even the payment banks like Airtel Payment Bank, Payment Bank. Okay. Even we have integrated with the CSCs, common service centers. Like there are lakhs of common service centers across India.
Like in
So you need
Bangalore, we have something called Bangalore One.
right. So that is a portal for payment of different utilities and
And
fees.
also they have physical centers. So they also have the counters where you can make online payments for any of these utility bills or whatever you talked about,
Right,
which could
right,
be
right,
paid digitally also through cash. And they
right,
generate the same similar challenge, but at a local level.
right. So their system is a bit different than ours. Like in case of cash payment to a kiosk, the kiosk owner or the franchisee should first fund that wallet with his own money, like paying, say, 10,000 or 20,000. And then
Mm-hmm.
when he collects that cash, the cash belongs to him,
Oh, okay.
and that
Okay.
adjustment happens on the in the wallet.
Okay.
So in our case, what happens? Suppose the person wants to pay the tender fee through cash, and he generates a challan. He walks into a bank branch, say Indian Bank, and presents it to the teller. So the teller will notice the challan number which is there, uh, which he is showing, and that challan can be either a SMS challan or a printout challan. And once he puts that on the screen, okay, a call goes out from bank server to our server to validate that challan, the details, and then we push the data in the bank screen. It gets
Mm-hmm.
populated, and the teller accepts or the franchisee owner accepts the cash and gives the receipt. That is how it happens. And the best part is, although this is a cash transaction, but the update is happening almost in real time like a digital transaction.
Mm-hmm. And how do you monetize in this process? Because you have multiple touch points, right? Even the bank or uh, uh, the uh, uh, wherever, whichever collection service player. So they are there, you're there, and then the concerned authority to whom the payment has to be facilitated. How does the distribution happen?
I mean, when they are generating the challan, then and there the charges are added in the total amount. And once they go there, suppose they want to pay 1,000 rupees. So, and the charge is say 20 rupees or something. So they have to actually pay 1,020 rupees.
Correct.
And this 20 rupees will then get split up into different partners.
So that happens through you.
Yeah, that happens to us.
Oh, okay. Okay. So interesting. So this is a uh, classic B2B use case, right?
Yes.
B2G rather, you would do it through business to government or even individual to government agencies,
Right.
and you
It can
stitch out.
also happen to say not only the government, university can launch its admission process where it
Hmm,
can
hmm,
say, okay, you can pay in cash, but you have to pay through the challan.
correct. And today, of course, people apply from across India to different universities. So
Right.
all those payment systems. And do you have your product also working internationally?
At this moment, we have like, see, the payment product is such that wherever you go, you need to get comply to the central bank's regulations of that country,
Hmm.
whether it's in India or even neighboring countries. So we did not moved out of India. We
No, but
consider
catering to see there are lots of international universities where Indians are going in significant number. Actually,
right,
there are thousands and hundreds and thousands of Indians who are studying regularly abroad. So their payments are happening through their broker firms in India. So
right.
have you stitched your payment system with them as well? Because this would make the job a lot easier.
I mean, see, currently what is happening is government of India is trying to take UPI globally.
Correct.
So already they have launched in Singapore and
Mm-hmm.
a few other countries. So in these countries, you can make a payment through UPI, or you can accept a payment through UPI, which is happening in a smaller scale. And government has also come up with a new circular regarding PSCB, which is payment aggregator cross-border system. So they are coming up with a cross-border uh,
So once that is done, it will become easy for.
yeah, it will become easier because cross-border is more for the exporters and importers. Currently, government is trying to address that to make the payment smoother, and the charges should be lesser. Currently, it is dominated by the banks, and the charges are very high.
No, but
Uh,
this is where government was suggesting CBDC will be the route for cross-border payments because that will cut down significantly the transaction fees for the party involved, right? So that is where CBDC is looked at as a big player for the cost cross-border payment.
yeah, that might be. So, in the current PSCB guideline which has come up, we did not notice anything about. They did not talk about anything about the CBDC. So it
Hmm.
might. You are right. It might be a might have a use case there, the CBDC. But as I said earlier, so this is a regulated industry.
Correct, correct,
So we go by whatever the regulator is
correct.
interpreting, or they are coming up with. At this moment, I will give you some example. At this moment, the size of the transaction can be up to 25 lakhs Indian currency only, which is quite less
Hmm,
if you talk
hmm,
about export or import. So
correct,
what I think is this is a pilot project which they have launched,
correct, correct.
and they will take it from here. Maybe it will become better.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. And what other features of SabPaisa? One is that you're in this B2B, B2G space. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, see, we in the payment suite, we have this payment gateway or the payment aggregation platform that I talked about,
correct.
which is having a where you can pay through online modes or offline modes. Then we also have a subscription model in which you can auto debit payers account through ACH mandate
So
electronic.
all this subscription of services can be managed better. So,
Yes, subscription of services where you want to get the payments involuntarily.
mm,
The payment gateway is voluntary, where the payer has to come in and make the payment when he wants, and there can be involuntary payment,
mm,
like if you have taken a loan or you have a liability to pay back or pay for a service that you are using. So
mm,
that for that we have a subscription product. We have a sort of a payout product
mm,
where we give the APIs to the merchants that okay, you have so many uh, beneficiaries where you want to whom you want to pay apart from the corporate internet banking portal. You can use our API to make the payments directly from your backend ERP system
mm,
without having to log into your corporate internet banking, uploading a file in a certain format,
mm,
then downloading the result from there, then updating the ERP. Lots of manual processes are involved. So we have come up with that payout mechanism, right?
mm.
We have this payment link system wherein you want to send invoice at the due date and get the
Right.
payment done. So these are the products that we have come up with, and we also have a dynamic form builder. Someone is trying to quickly go online with the forms. See, when you decide that okay, I want to go digital, I want to make, I want to collect electronically. So you need to build your database. You need to build a front end. So that is both costly and time taking. So if there is a form builder in front of the payment gateway, which can help you to build a form, for us, it hardly takes 20 minutes to build a form because there are templates uh, and which you can select and your form gets ready. And the payment gateway is always integrated. So with us, the TAT is very fast. You can go live on the same day with
So
the help.
this form builder would help in catalog management you're suggesting?
Uh, it will help you to launch forms uh, like when you are trying to collect some fees. Okay,
Right,
either you
right,
can have a
right.
shopping cart, either you can have a shopping cart, or
Right.
you can have a some forms. Okay, you can build some, say, admission form or fee collection.
Mm-hmm.
So
Understood. Understood. Yeah,
you can
that's
build
a
those forms using this form builder.
right, and it makes it very easy for businesses to go live from a transaction point of view to activate the transactions.
Yes.
So, so in this context, what is staying relevant to you as a business in the payment landscape as you see how it is changing? What does
Yeah.
being relevant mean to you?
So this is a very important question because staying relevant uh, in a highly competitive segment where
And also very highly regulated space.
highly regulated segment that okay, you can charge this much or you cannot charge more than this is what how we are managing that is that okay, we want to stay relevant. SabPaisa wants to stay relevant. We are a bootstrapped entity. We are not funded by any VC. So we want to stay relevant by adopting certain strategies which are relevant for us. So we have identified first, we have identified the industry segments where we are strong. So we are developing the products, expanding our channels, signing up relevant merchants accordingly. Okay. So our strategy is to build a sustainable business in the highly competitive segment. So by sustainable, I mean that okay, uh, wherever we are getting integrated, um, we should we should get a proper bottom line should be positive. I mean, we should make profit out of there, and we can by adding some value, we can have a captive customer. When it is not captive in nature, it is always prone to move out only because of a price difference of, say, 1 bips. 1 bips means 0.01%. So someone comes and say that, okay, I am going to give you an advantage of 1 bips, come to me. So that merchant migrates to the other payment gateway. So we actually didn't want it to get into that segment at this moment. So obviously it has, like you can talk about e-commerce segment where the large volumes are being played out, but it is also very competitive. People are working there for 1 bips, and they are making money. But for making that money, the kind of volume that you need to process, the kind of infra that you need to set up to manage those volume is mind-boggling, right?
Correct.
So we being a bootstrapped company, we know our constraints.
So, what
Uh,
are your focus areas?
so at this moment, we have identified certain verticals. One vertical is education. Another vertical is the government institutions. Third vertical is the hospitals. Okay. And fourth vertical that we have identified is the corporates, where we are giving B2B payment solutions. So at this moment, I won't say that, okay, I mean, if you ask me, don't you have e-commerce customers? We have e-commerce customers, but compared to
Okay.
these identified segments,
So, your focus
uh,
area is more on the B2B and government payment space.
right,
Hmm.
right. So the GTM has been built like that. Okay, we will be partnering with the banks, uh, and the banks will white label our product. They will we will utilize their channel strength to market our product. So that way, our CAC is on the lower side compared to others. So customer acquisition cost, keeping it down, actually helps us to reduce the cash burn. The That is part of our GTM, and we have also improved our GTM over the years because the things are also changing in the banking industry. There are mergers which are happening, and banks are taking different strategies, and we also have to change our GTM accordingly.
So, how are you responding to these changes that are happening now from your own product and product roadmap and customer engagement point of view?
Yeah. So if we talk about the changes which are happening, then how we are managing the changes, that will be more. Then it will make the listeners to understand it in a better way. Like I would say this industry, the payment industry, has reached its maturity. So there are industries um, where you can put this much of effort, you will get this much of result. But that happens when the industry is not very mature.
Yeah, in a
But
growth
when,
stage. Yeah.
yeah, so when it's a mature industry, so making an impact, okay, making an impact, like it takes lots of effort. And companies are innovating currently by adding many layers on top of the payment layer. Like you can look at the current news which are coming up from the industry, like payment aggregators, like I won't name anyone, but they are taking over companies like AI companies, analytics companies, payroll software companies, even e-commerce platform companies. So what they are doing is they are adding a layer on top of the payment system. So for them, maybe they want to secure their revenue by charging for those additional layers. So payment system has become a foundation on top of these developments are happening. And people are becoming focused on launching more omni-channel approach that they should have all kind of payment options in a single place. I mean, the merchant should not go to another provider for a particular service. It should be truly omni-channel. So that is one more change which is happening. And the most important catalyst of this payment industry is of course, the government. It is steering the industry in a direction or in a way where they want the industry to be. Okay, so that is how you can see the different, uh, you can say, regulations are coming up. Okay, and people have to adhere to those regulations, whether it's a loan-based startup or whether it's a payment-based startup. There are so many regulations which has come up in the recent past, which are actually changing the direction of the industry very fast. So at this moment in the month of January, so you cannot predict the industry will. Okay, I can predict. Okay, the volume will grow. These are the players in the market. Some developments will happen. I can predict that way. But what regulations will come in the next financial year or in the middle of the next financial year, no one can predict. So what we are trying to do is we are a member of PCI Payments Council of India. We are trying to put forth our views through that council that will help the industry. And one more thing, Nanjunda, is that in any industry, if you talk about the people who are trying to out a solution which will change the direction of the industry. So for that, uh, like if you read about PayPal, when they started the business, it was not exactly legal the way they wanted to do the transactions, but it was not illegal as well. So it was in the gray area.
Correct.
So thing is that um, many of the startups like to work in the gray area because they want to innovate, they want to make a breakthrough. But with the regulations, what happens? Uh, the black and white becomes more pronounced. This is black, this is white. You cannot do anything in between. So these are the changes which are taking place in the uh, payment industry. And the second part of the question was how we are trying to manage.
Correct. So, how are
Uh,
you? See, of course, on the compliance side, there is little you can do but follow what is happening or which way it is heading. But on the other side of it, what is the things industry is driving, or what is happening elsewhere in the world, which are likely to come into India also. So, how are you preparing on that? And what is in your uh, vision as you see it today? How do you see the SabPaisa, you know, traversing through these going forward?
right. So first thing is that obviously we talked about like the regulations being a regulated entity. So we are uh, now a regulated entity like a bank or an insurance company, right? So so or an NBFC company. So first thing is that you need to be abreast about the new regulations which are coming up, and we have specialized committees for doing that, like studying the new regulations and trying to adopt to it or adapt to it, adopt it and adapt to it, so that we are because we have to face audit from the regulators regularly. We have to submit reports and all. So first and foremost is how to navigate these changes is you have to be fully compliant. Like before this year, we were not ISMS compliant. We were PCI DSS 3.2.1 compliant as per the requirement. But new requirement came up that you should be ISMS compliant, information security compliant. So we did our ISO certification. Then it was not mandatory that you need to be a PIMS compliant, personal information data, which there's a separate ISO certification for that. But we did it in advance that we wanted to be compliant, that the personal data which are coming up, the payers data which are coming up, it is safe with us. We need to be compliant with that. We did it in advance. And one more thing that we are doing is we are not, uh, as I told you before, if it is a top heavy organization, often things doesn't move so fast and things doesn't become flexible. So many of the decisions are being taken by the middle management. So the changes that we are witnessing in the industry, for which you need to react very fast, whether it's global changes, whether or India-based changes, you need to react very fast. So for that, we have empowered our middle management, and they're taking necessary changes in the organization, making necessary changes in the product, in the compliance part, in the marketing and sales part, whatever changes that we need to do, we are trying to stay, uh, I mean, abreast about the changes, and accordingly we are making the changes. So one more data I want to highlight here, like in the last 3 months, around, I don't know the exact data, but 100 plus fintechs have closed shop. And many of them
Oh,
were,
well, I actually wanted to ask you on that. Nearly 2,000 lending companies, specifically to the MSME space, have been shut down because of non-compliance and various other issues.
right.
So, do you see that as an opportunity space for you to get into it because you actually have all the tech ready for it? And also the compliance part of it, you are always trying to be compliant and trying to be a step ahead in terms of even that data management side, information security side, and everything else. So, do you see you're getting into it? Is that I mean, is that a possibility for your future? Because there is a
Yeah,
need. Because with 2,000 of those shut down, MSME financing is in a mess in India, right? I mean, people are charging crazy interest rates. There are people charging even up to 50% of interest. I mean, which looks ridiculous, but businesses are in such a mess. So do you see that as an opportunity for yourself?
yeah. So that is again a very relevant question. So we call ourselves us as a fintech startup on the payment side. Then we add it in the bracket that on the payment side, not on the lending side.
Lending side, yeah.
But yes, we would like to get into that in future. The current scenario which happened is there are so many loan apps which has come up, and they are charging this kind of interest, and there are so many complaints which are reaching the regulators. So things are a bit, I mean, it is not very clear at this moment the way RBI is coming down on these startups.
No,
Obviously, the
primarily, one, they have been exploitative, and two, they have been highly non-compliant. So that is why government has come up heavily on them. But unfortunately, while they were exploitative, they were also uh, uh, benefiting a lot of MSMEs also, because it's not that they were exploitative on every term. Some they are exploiting while they are able to, but that is wrong. But they were also facilitating the operation. So
Yeah, yeah.
so
Yes.
they were also doing some good, but they were doing lot bad. So that is where the government has come heavily on them.
I mean, see, the most important part of the having a lending business is how strong you are in underwriting the loans.
Correct,
Now, people have developed different platforms, different AI platforms for underwriting. Uh, these loan apps, even you're right that if someone has a bad CIBIL score, due to some reason, I mean, it is very unfortunate, some business incident happened and their rating has dropped, they cannot get a loan from the formal channel. So what they do is they try to go to the informal channel to get the loans. So these apps were, in a way, they were trying to formalize this, come up with a structure in processing these, I mean, extending credit to these people.
correct.
And unfortunately, that stopped. Um, see, the again, I'm coming back to the underwriting part. So having a loan or lending business in your founding team, you need. Uh, I may be right in this matter, but I will suggest this is my suggestion. You need ex-bankers in your team, in the founding member.
Or you can always bring the expertise into the team, right? Because there are good number of resources available, quality people are available.
Yeah, you can do that, but in the initial years, the like the company when it is trying to grow, the
Mm-hmm.
founders are expected to put in all their brains behind it. So, being from the banking background will help
Will
them
always help. Correct.
uh, yeah, drive it properly. If you have a very strong underwriting capability, that will help you to launch a proper lending business. See, the other apps, the larger ones like Paytm, PhonePay, and all these people also have a lending side,
Correct.
okay, or Bharat Pay. They have a lending side that if you use their payment gateway based on the transactions that you're doing,
Correct.
they have a calculation and they will extend that much of credit to you for your like day-to-day cash
Correct.
requirement.
Basic transactions, they facilitate some kind of a lending to buy those products or service. And they
Right, right,
offer you flexibility on that. Yeah.
right. So at this moment, we haven't decided on it, but definitely we will be looking into it. We are in touch with our
No, but
banking
they all
partner.
do it on the consumer side. But since you come from a B2B side, perhaps it is more natural that you would get into lending to the MSMEs rather than the consumer lending, like what some of these businesses that you mentioned are into.
Yeah, maybe that is a good idea. I will take note of that. Definitely, that okay, we can get into the MSME lending part.
Yeah,
So
because your most of your business is on the business side, right? On the B2B and B2G. Though you do cater to the consumer thing, but your priority focus is on this side. So it looks like a natural extension because you are far more compliant focused and technology is also aligned to that ecosystem.
yeah, I mean, then of course we have to expand our other verticals. At this moment,
Correct.
the current verticals like education or the government segment or the hospitals, they don't need much credit there. I mean, there is no demand in these segments.
Right,
Uh,
right.
right. So when we are getting into the MSME, we are serving the MSME. Obviously, that part also can be addressed.
Correct, correct. Perfect. Wonderful. Last question on this is what are the biggest threats that you see uh, going forward in future for your business and your space?
Okay. So first thing is that unexpected regulatory changes. So if you ask any fintech, that will be the first point that they will
Correct.
be
So
mentioning.
let's keep the regulation, because
Okay.
see, that is a animal that we don't know of. It's like a
Right.
dinosaur. All of us
Right.
know, but nobody knows it still.
Right. So that's the second part is it's a reality in the market that the larger players uh, to have a proper ecosystem, they should not get into predatory or monopolistic behavior. Uh, it is a threat for the smaller players like us. So if such continues, obviously it's a threat for players like us. Uh, if I can break down this thing, like offering at zero MDR for 3 months without any charge, you might have also come across this kind of
Correct.
uh, customer acquisition strategy. So that I would say is predatory behavior that, okay, yes. So you can add value, you can do so many innovations and customers will flock to you. But you are when you're trying to kill the competitors, that is one aspect which I would say that can be one of the biggest threat for us in the future. Normally I'm very open about, I mean, whether I'm discussing with you in a podcast or personally, I'm very open in because that way people can understand that, okay,
Correct.
I'm telling the truth actually. So the second and the third point is we have certain developed certain strengths in different industries. If we cannot hold on to these strengths, so that is a threat for us. Like the strength that we had in 2017, 18, obviously people have also come up with similar solutions. And we had moved on from there and we have developed other kind of solutions in the market. But if we cannot continue it, or if we cannot accelerate it, so that is one of the major threat for us for our business. Okay. And fourth point is there are four segments which I mentioned. So if I cannot expand my scope of getting into other business segments or industry segments, that is again a threat because I will be stuck in a segment, in few segments, four segments, five segments. And then if there is a disruption which happens there, so I'm out of that market. So to de-risk my business, I need to expand in other segments. So that is one of the threat which we need to be aware about.
Right. Do you see uh, uh, I mean, let's not get into a long conversation, but do you see AI as a threat? Because a lot of people actually talk about it. So I do have. I mean, it can be a tool also for you, but do you see that as a threat?
AI as a threat. Okay. So AI is definitely an opportunity and threat for many industries, including the banking industry, the so-called the
Like you
formal,
also mentioned, right? Underwriting. Underwriting is a fantastic use case for
right.
AI.
So yeah, that can be disrupted in a major way. Already, some of the banks are for certain level of credit, they are not using any human underwriting. They're using AI underwriting to pass on some loans. I mean, to qualify certain loans. I mean, nowadays it has become so common that pre-approved loans are there with
Right.
you. Okay. So you simply give a confirmation they will transfer that money to you.
Correct.
So how they are calculating it? I mean, it is not mandatory that AI is used, but mostly if you want to churn out uh, such large data, so definitely AI might be deployed. And for us, whether AI is a threat or not, uh, see, apart from being a payment aggregator, we are also a fintech solution provider to the banks.
Hmm.
I did not mention that part. Like we are empaneled as a fintech partner with several banks uh, based on the uh, close tenders that they roll out to these fintech partners. We sometimes develop solutions for the banks and give it to them. So these are the two segments that we are working on. And it is exactly not clear how AI will disrupt our business since we are in a regulated uh, industry. So things don't move so fast. It moves as per the regulation. Really, I could not answer this question to you. This question of yours satisfactorily, maybe. Uh, we
No,
cannot.
I think it is evident that it is more of a contemplative because see, you also see an opportunity in it, and there is
Yeah,
also a possible threat. So it's a more a contemplative response as
right,
visibly, but yeah, it is as much an opportunity as much a threat.
right.
So wonderful. Is there any particular thing like you just mentioned that you're also as a company is a fintech solution provider to banks? Is there anything else that you want to mention before we wind up conclude our business section of this podcast?
So I would like to actually uh, give some perspectives on the future, which might. I mean, I will try to keep it brief, so
Oh,
it will
on the
not be a
future
long.
perspective, I want to take it for our future segment. But on your business, is there something you want to mention?
Uh,
Is there something that you're doing and you want to talk about that? Okay, these are the other things that we are.
yeah, I mean, at this moment, we are concentrating on this payment aggregation and the fintech solution, uh, providing fintech solutions to the bank. Um, we don't have any other plan at this.
Oh, on that count, Pathikrit, is there any shout out you want to give to among our listeners to either one collaborate with you or from getting into some specific market or segment or industry, or even if you want to give a shout out to the investor audience, if you would be open to uh, uh, engaging them in a conversation to from point of your scale and their participation as investors.
Yeah, definitely. Like uh, we are open to such connections. Uh, like we are open to connections where people want to come and work with us, and we are in the lookout for talented people to join our organization. Second part is we are always looking out for partners with whom we can have a strategic partnership wherein both the businesses they prosper. Like we have several partners, people who are providing e-commerce segment solutions or e-governance solutions. We have tie-up with them, uh, and together we are giving solution to the customers. And third aspect is like we are still bootstrapped and profitable organization. This year also we will end up with a profit, with a growth. But we would like to have a conversation with investors, uh, the strategic investors, and if the investors feel that we are adding some value in the market. Again, I'm saying that we are not a run of the mill company. We try to do things differently. So we have an approach called in the sales. We have an approach called plug and socket. That okay, I tell my sales team that okay, if you're not having the plug um for the specific sockets of the customer, don't give the solution to them. It is not only about having another customer in our kitty. It is about having how much value add we are giving to them. Like, in fact, we have customers who are large customers who are still there since 2016, 17, 18. Normally, uh, the customer churn is very much in this industry, okay, due to pricing challenges and all. But the kind of value addition that we are giving, it ensures that the customer stays with us. And that is one sign of having a sustainable business. So if any investor is looking for a business which is which has a built-in sustainability qualities, uh, which has developed a certain infra in terms of partnerships with key banks, wherein we can take it to another level with additional funds, we can better our product and all. So obviously, we are happy to collaborate.
Okay. So on the future perspectives, we will come back and catch up on that. And to the so thank you so much for sharing very open-mindedly sharing the challenges, opportunities, right? That as you see and the kind of thing. So thank you so much for that. And I hope audience and listeners had a lot of takeaways for whatever business that you are into from this conversation. And please do share it with all those people you think will benefit out of this. And if you have not yet subscribed to FutureFast, do it now and come back soon because we will get his perspective on future and also some predictions. And until then, enjoy the ride. Once again, Pathikrit, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you very much.